in your journal. So oh, there we go. And then we'll dive right into the imagination activity. So for this one, I thought about imagination. And when I thought about how I imagine as an adult versus how I imagined as a child, I realized I give very little time to myself to imagine the way I used to when I was a kid and to really let my mind wander, like very unhinged. So when I was younger, I feel like my teachers in school and adults and my peers around me would encourage me to think beyond my current situation or my current reality and really imagine limitless possibilities, whether it would be through the form of a drawing or whether it would be through story writing. It was really a place where I could play and really imagine a world that was different than my own. So that is why as an adult, I really like let myself imagine the most, probably when I dream at night. And it's kind of the time when my mind wanders into the unknown. So whether it be based on what I'm doing or who I am or how I felt, my mind really drifts off into a world of imagination when I'm dreaming. So for this activity, I invite you to maybe close your eyes for a little bit and give yourself some time to imagine. What do you picture when you see yourself a year from now? Who are you? What do you have? What are you capable of? Really try to visualize all that you can be and who you are if there were no limitations and unlimited possibilities and resources at your disposal. And then when you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes and draw this little cloud bubble. And I'm not very artistic, so if you are artistic, you can even draw in your bubble, but spend some time and write down kind of what you would imagine for yourself if there was nothing stopping you and there was nothing in your way. So here is kind of my bubble. I can just show you what I wrote down. This is kind of what I drew. So you can just draw a giant little bubble, cloud bubble. It kind of looks like rain, but it was meant to be a thought bubble. And then I have like little things I wrote down for myself. So some of the things that I wrote down was being an avid reader, proud of who I am and what I bring to the world, adventures of going out in the night and having spontaneous moments, the ability to run a mile without walking. I'm very out of shape. So that's one of my goals a year from now, if I could really stick to it. So I invite you to spend some time. We'll take a few minutes. And as you write them down in your thought bubble or as you draw, for those of you that are more artistic, go ahead and write in the chat what you wrote down in your bubble. right. I see a lot of people have shared in the chat. We have a lot of like health related goals. We have, I love what Jesse wrote, thinking it'd be cool to run a tea cafe and bookstore. That's such a fun idea. I love that. There's something so amazing about just a local business that really can, unlock a lot of great moments. So I definitely love that idea. We have a lot of great ideas and imaginations in the chat. So I invite you to really take some time if you didn't complete it. There's no rush. You can still take some time and write it out during the Sonder Social. You can also finish it up later on. But thank you so much for taking some time and really thinking about what's possible for you in the future. And we can try to break down those barricades that we set up for ourselves. Sometimes there's some that are inevitable, but there's some that we can really circumvent. So definitely keep these in mind as you go forth in the near future to maybe, have some of these goals and really work towards them. So we will move on to the next activity, which is Rosebud Thorn. So for this week, we are going to turn to page, I think it's, yes, 36. On page 36, at the bottom of your Silk and Sonder journal, there's a space that says weekly reflection, and it has a space for rose, bud, and thorn. And this is kind of how I break it down. So rose is something that's going well. It's a highlight. It's something that you're grateful for. And an example is I felt like I prioritized my well-being this week. A bud could be an emerging opportunity, something that you're looking forward to. And then thorn is a challenge or something you've been struggling with. So here on page 36, I wrote down my weekly reflection here for my rosebud thorn, and we'll all take a minute to write down our rosebud thorn. And when you're ready, go ahead and type in the chat what you wrote down if you feel comfortable. So we'll all take a minute and then we will regroup and discuss our rosebud thorns. time. All right. I love the activity in the chat. Rosebud Thorn is one of my favorites. And for those of you that have been a part of the Silk and Sonder community for a long time now, you know how much we love Rosebud Thorn at Silk and Sonder HQ. So super excited to do it with all of you. And I just wanted to highlight a few that I read through in the chat. I really loved what Tanya said about, her bud in her circumstances. She hasn't allowed herself to dream of anything in a very, very long time. But this week she started opening up again and is seeing like possibilities, and the mind and her mindset is changing. That is so beautiful. I think there's something really empowering to really feel that way. And I recently have started to feel that way as well. So that was beautifully, beautifully written. I noticed Abigail also said that she really stuck to her healthy routine and her goals for her health. And she finally feels like, her mind is, back where she wanted it to be. And I think that's so amazing. Physical health really coincides with some of our, energy levels. So that's amazing. Great work. And I love reading through all of your rosebud thorns. I think the way I like to think of it is I always start with like thorn, bud, rose. So one of my thorns is feeling confident and capable can be a challenge for me. I often get hung up on the present and don't really make time for like my future goals. And then my bud is, recognizing that there are a plethora of options for me. And, I just need to take that first step and really chase it. And then my rose was I really made great progress in this certificate that I've been really working towards for several months, and made a lot of progress over the holidays to really stick to it, since I wasn't really doing much during the holidays. So I love to always end on the rose. So we'll start on the next activity, which is the weekly setup, which is what you're all here for. So let me get to the weekly planner on page 40. So this is page 40. We're gonna fill out all these sections together, and we will start with this first box up here, which is the week. This week I want to feel. So here I put in a few examples of how you can really fill this out. There's no right way to fill it out. Sometimes I use one word, sometimes I use a phrase, sometimes I don't even write down how I want to feel, but how I feel in that moment and how I want it to be for that rest of the week. And really think about kind of what you want to accomplish this week. Who do you want to be? How do you want to feel? And really set that intention, and write it down. So here I have a feelings wheel to really help you out. There's obviously like a lot of feelings on this wheel. So you don't have to choose, you can choose one of these. You don't have to choose any of these. But this is just to help you out. I hope that we stray away from this section of the wheel and kind of, more on this section. I hope that we can move away from this. So I encourage you to choose like one of these words, not one of these. But you don't even have to choose any of these words either. I think the word I chose for my last week was empowered. So this is how I felt. This is how I wanted to feel last week. And I think I felt that way for the majority of the week. So we'll take some time and write down what your word is. And I invite you to share in the chat what you wrote down. There we go. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. Loved what everyone wrote down their word. We have a lot of motivated, accomplished, content, focused, connected, and grounded. Progress. I love that. Energized, in control. Joy, creative, loved, in control of my anxiety. I love that. Excited and enthusiastic about whatever comes my way. Confident, capable, connected, creative. We already got that one, but another one. Rested, relaxed, proud, and dedicated. I love that. You don't need to feel one feeling. You can feel many feelings. So there's no rules. I love that. Productive, patient, brave, peaceful. We have a lot of great words that everyone shared that they're going to feel this week. So I'm super sending you all the great vibes to get you on track for your week to make you feel the way you want to feel. And next, we have the weekly to-dos. So this section can really be done in different ways. These are several different ways. So you can either categorize your to-dos, you can have it just all your to-dos in one go. It can be, if you don't have that much to do that week, it can be repurposed as like a book list, or what you want to watch that week, or some fun activities you have planned for the week that you want to try doing that week. So it really can be anything. It can be maybe some of your goals that you have. It can really be repurposed to best fit you. So these are a few examples that we have. And I invite you to really reflect on what you want to accomplish for this week. It can be errands, it can be, your work tasks, it can be your personal tasks, whatever you need to feel a little bit more organized, just having it written down. But I will give everyone a few minutes and then we'll regroup. All right. So I hope everyone took some time and wrote down something in their to-do section, or repurposed it to best fit them. We'll move on to the next section, which is the weekly major three goals. So this is a section where you can really best have it best fit you, just to kind of, it can be work related, it can be personal, again, it's different than your to-dos, because these are the three musts that you really want to accomplish this week. That's how I differentiate this section, and I typically write out like 1, 2, 3, and then just write down how I want to feel or what I want to do for myself. How, like, it can really be anything, and you can really repurpose the section again, into the books that you're reading, the podcasts that you're listening to, the songs that you're listening to that you really love, 3 fun activities you want to do for yourself or for others in your life, and or like 3, if you're really like looking for something, maybe it could be like 3 dishes you want to try cooking. It can really be anything you want it to be. So I invite you to really repurpose this section. If you don't really know what to write in terms of goals, my goals really change up each week. So it definitely changes direction. And sometimes I even try to choose 3 goals that accomplish what I wrote above, which is that feeling. So how are these 3 things that I do this week help me to achieve how I want to feel, which is what I wrote above? So you can really use this section to write down 3 goals that help support you in feeling the way you wanted to feel that week. So I will go off camera and we'll take a few minutes and fill out this section. All right. I hope everyone had enough time to write down three goals for themselves. I loved what everyone shared in the chat. I'm excited for you to really make some time for yourselves this week to really work towards the three goals, or read if you wrote down what you wanted to read or watch or listen to. I hope you make time for yourself to really work on listening or reading or watching whatever it is you wrote down. So the next section we're going to work on is the habit activity section, which is just below. This section is often confused with kind of the habit tracker earlier in the journal, which is the monthly. Let me pull that up. This section. So the way I differentiate it for myself is these are just goals that I want to track for the rest of the month, or habits I want to track for myself. But my weekly goals, sometimes they're the same. So a few of them I take from my month and then I transfer it over, or sometimes I just make it specific to habits I want to track for that week. So for me, it was really important. I wrote down, this is my habits that I tracked this past week. And these were really important to me. I really wanted to take some time away from my laptop and go outside for 30 minutes, not really adding any sugar into my diet because it makes me a little tired by the end of the day. And then disconnecting from all technology, phone, TV, laptop, everything for 1 hour a day. And it's really hard for me, but somehow I managed to do it. But I think those were like really important to me. And then, of course, like a mindfulness activity, which for me could be yoga or spending some time journaling, really taking some time for myself and for my mental wellness, because that's definitely my priority this past week as we kind of transition from the holidays into kind of the reality of life and the busy day to day. So that's how I repurpose this habit activity section. So it can really be however you want to set it up. So you can do it that way. You can also make it like habit activities that are specific to this week. It can be, or it can even be, if you really want to get creative, how is that going to relate to how you want to feel? Like, what habits can you incorporate into your week that will accomplish how you want to feel, or that will help you accomplish some of those goals you wrote down earlier? So I invite you all to take a few minutes and write down your habit activities. And also, while you're writing those habits and activities, why don't you set a goal? If you feel comfortable, write down kind of your goal. Sometimes you're not going to meet it. Sometimes you will. I like clearly did not meet my no added sugar for 7 days. That was a lofty goal of mine. So definitely, make it your own, and it's okay to not meet that goal. That's the beauty of the journal. Like, there's no right way to live your life. You have to forgive your own goals. Like, if you don't meet a goal, that's okay. Like, you tried and that's good enough. So that's really important to keep in mind. So with that, I invite you to write down some habits. And here we have a list of some habits that you can maybe choose and get inspired by. So go ahead and take a minute and we will regroup for the next weekly setup activity. All right. I hope everyone had some time to write down at least a few habits they want to track this week. I saw that there was some questions about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I love that idea, like having, your the goal that you want to accomplish the most at the top, and then the one that is a nice to have would be kind of more towards the bottom. That way, it's already in a prioritized list. So that's a great idea. Definitely want to do that this week. So I will be doing that as well. Oh, Nancy had a question about closing rings. That is for my Apple Watch, my activity rings. So that's usually like 30 minutes of exercise, my my active calories that I wanted to burn that day, all of that. So great question. I know it's like definitely an Apple Watch thing only. Otherwise, it's pretty strange. Cool. So the next section that we're going to spend some time filling out is the meal plan. So I'm going to be completely transparent with you all. I am horrible at this section. I am so bad at meal planning for myself, which is something I really need to work on, and I'm going to work on this year. But I often repurpose this section for my daily affirmations. So in my Silk and Sonder app, we have those daily affirmations. So sometimes I like to write those down and just cover up the breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack section with some washi tape. But sometimes I also write down kind of what, like a food log almost. So I typically write down, what did I have for breakfast? What did I have for lunch? So that, I can kind of fill out the section, but it's not really like, oh, this is what you meal prep for breakfast, this is what you meal prep for lunch. I'm just not on top of my schedule and as much as other people. So I'm fully transparent with you all. I don't really do it that way. But there are people that do, want to plan out their meals for the week, having some ideas for dinner so that you're not stressed out about, oh my gosh, what do I have for dinner tonight? What do I have dinner for the next few days? So definitely, make the section your own. So you can also use it as a reading log. You can even, since it's imagination, use the section as like a dreaming journal, like, and imagine, like have some imagine prompt at the top. And how do you, like, what are you going to imagine for yourself on each day, and like have some sort of fun, creative, section for yourself in your weekly setup. It could be a gratitude log. I know we have one for the month, but there can never be too much gratitude. So you can even use this as a gratitude journal. So there's a lot of different ways you can repurpose the section. So we'll take some time and we can fill out the section together. right. We'll move on to the next section in your weekly setup, which is the mind body health plan. So, this is like one of my favorite sections in the weekly setup because I think, a lot of it is, just using your journal, which is already there. So that's sometimes one of my, that's definitely one of my entries in my plan a lot of the weeks. Sometimes it's completely fitness related, sometimes it's not fitness related at all. So you can really tweak this to best fit you. So this is kind of how a few people wrote down their mind body health plan. This is mine. This is the one from last week. You probably recognize the quote because it was from the last weekly setup. And, I had a plan that I wanted to do hot yoga at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, but it just didn't happen. Life got in the way and I wasn't feeling too well and my stomach was hurting. So, you know what? I felt fully comfortable crossing that off. I think someone said in the chat earlier today, like, it's not a contract. So, this is just goals. They're not contracts. And it's okay to give yourself grace. I really love that. So that's what I did last week. And again, one of my, I switched, I really wanted to go to hot yoga on Thursday. So I switched it with another thing that I wanted to do. I'm really trying to get back into the fitness after the holidays. So really tried to set that up in my mind body health plan this past week. But usually it's like not this fitness intensive at all. Definitely, yes, walking is so underrated. We all need to walk more. We spend a lot of time sitting. So definitely like agree with that. If you can try to walk, I know it's a little cold outside, so even walking in your house is great, or just moving your body the best way you can. And okay, someone had a question about the pens I use Muji pens. They're my favorite. So those are the pens I use. But I will give everyone a few minutes to write down what they're going to do for themselves for mind body health. And then we'll move on to the next activity. All right. I hope everyone had some time to fill out this section or repurposed it the way they wanted to. I saw some great ideas to repurpose the section, so definitely take some inspiration from those that dropped it in the chat. And there's many different ways to fill out the section, so definitely have it best cater towards you. I really think that's the best way to use, especially this mind body health plan. It can really just be taking some time, taking a break, stretching. It can really be anything to help you feel a little bit better throughout your week. So the next section is the shopping list. This one is kind of a mixed bag for me. I used to use this for Rosebud Thorn before we had it in this new layout for this new journal. So sometimes I wrote down my groceries for the week. I rarely, I'm not a huge like clothes shopper or like online shopper. So I never really buy that like clothing wise in terms of like I don't really buy a lot online besides like Amazon stuff. So usually I don't really have anything that I really want. But groceries definitely I like to go grocery shopping. So I sometimes write those out. Or sometimes it might be like a free writing section. It can really be whatever you want it to be. And or you could even write like a journal prompt or something and have like a little reflection area. So it can really be anything you want. So these are some examples. We have like some groceries that someone wrote down, a capsule wardrobe, like what they want in their capsule wardrobe. I like think you could even write down like maybe some books you want to read, intentions you have for your week. Oh, Karen said she used it for quotes. It's such a great idea. Definitely love like a quote of the week. That's so fun. I think I might do that this week because I don't really think I'm going to be shopping too much this week. So I think that's how I'm going to use it. Thanks for the inspiration. So there's many different ways you can use the section. So we'll spend a minute to write down what we want to write down for the shopping list. All right. I know we're a few minutes over, so thank you all for the ones that can stick around still. And for those of you that have to go, I completely understand. Thank you so much for joining. We have one more section to fill out together if you can spare a few minutes. So we'll dive right in to the next section, which is I am loving. So for this section, I invite you to close your eyes and think about what you're currently loving in your life. Is it something that you may have tried this week, or something that you're looking forward to? Um, Thinking about kind of what you're truly loving and brings you some joy in your life. And once you kind of picture what that is, or who that is, or what event that is, write that down. Spend some time and write it down. I will share what I wrote down. So I wrote down that I love exploring coffee shops in my town, Santa Barbara, which is where I'm based out of. And I found the most amazing latte, and I want to share the picture with you all. This is an iced latte that I ordered yesterday. So that was something I wrote down, because there's something amazing when you just weren't expecting an iced latte to be so beautiful. So definitely loved that little surprise. And it was the first time I ever had a coffee that fancy. So I definitely appreciated it. So that is what I wrote down. So it can really be anything. It can be, a show that you're really excited about. Like, I'm super excited about Euphoria. That's going to be premiering tonight. I love that show. So I'm really excited about that. There's just a lot of things that I am truly loving. And part of that is, Sonder Socials. I feel like I really missed it during the holidays. So it's great to dive right back in and see all of you in the chat. It's always my favorite. So I invite you to spend a minute and write down what you're loving, and then we'll wrap up for this evening. All right. And with that, that is pretty much it for this evening. You're all set up for your week. Thank you so much for taking this time for yourself and for sharing what you wrote down with the rest of the group. This was such a fun group. It was such an active chat. I love that. It's always fun to, hear what all of you are writing down in your journals. So thank you so much for sharing it with me and for everyone else in the Silk and Sonder community. And I invite you to take some pictures and share it on Sonder Club. Show everyone, how you prepped for your week and what you did and all the work that you put in tonight to really conquer the rest of your week. So super, super proud of you all. So thank you all for joining me tonight. And thank you, Sarah, for helping me co-host. And I see a lot of other facilitators popping in that I recognize in the chat. So thank you all for the other facilitators joining. Thank you all for all the Sonder Club members that are joined tonight. And for those of you that haven't downloaded the app, definitely download the app. We have an iOS and an Android app. So here are the QR codes. And then we also send out a survey, and we definitely read every piece of feedback from the survey. So definitely fill that out. We love to improve and make sure we can best tailor these events to best serve you. So definitely fill those out, and I will see you at the next one. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your week.